You're witnessing my silent pause, which is intended to bring some suspense. Very, very excited to be here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's my honor to introduce something that the city of Seattle couldn't be more excited with. I'm joined by Dean Frank Hodge from the University of Washington's Foster School of Business, Ollie Garrett from Tabor 100, Dean Joe Phillips from Seattle University's Albers School of Business, together with other community leaders, including my wife Joanne Harrell and Ollie Garrett and others, on this exciting venture that I'll talk about in a little more detail. This is an exciting new collaboration aimed at fostering the growth of our local businesses, and that is critically important what we're trying to do in this new chapter of Seattle. We're proud to introduce what we are calling the Liberty Project. It's a groundbreaking program designed to empower entrepreneurs who face significant barriers to success due to systemic racism and the legacies of inequitable policies and practices. This initiative is especially crucial for Black-owned businesses right here in Seattle. A statistic: in Seattle, African Americans account for just over 7% of the population, but earn revenues well below their share of our city's population. Statewide, Black communities earning less than 1% of the total business revenue that is generated, and that disparity is completely unacceptable. We're standing here because approximately 55 years ago, right here in what we still refer to as the Central District, the Liberty Bank became the first Black-owned bank in the Pacific Northwest. It served as a lifeline for individuals and businesses who were previously excluded from financial services and investment opportunities. For many of those that know my personal story, know that I literally grew up about 4 blocks heading north. And so when we saw the creation of this bank, we saw access to capital, we saw entrepreneurship, we saw the very reasons why people immigrated to Seattle in the first place, for a chance at their slice of the pie through small business development. This bank has always symbolized resilience, empowerment, and opportunity, and now the Liberty Project will build upon that rich legacy. By fostering meaningful collaboration between leading small business institutions and Seattle communities, we are taking tangible action to drive economic empowerment and create a vibrant, inclusive business landscape across Seattle. Now, for nearly 3 decades, our fine academic institutions, the University of Washington, Seattle University, and Tabor 100, an organization I'll talk a little bit about later, have worked somewhat independently, somewhat collaboratively, but all with a very core focus on nurturing the growth of Black-owned businesses and underserved businesses in Seattle and the Puget Sound region. Now, the city of Seattle wants to be a strong partner of this. I don't use the expression, the Russell Wilson quarterback strategy anymore. I say the Geno Smith strategy on quarterbacking us all together. And the city is proud to help quarterback, help lead, help collaborate, and help follow this important effort we are calling, again, the Liberty Project. Now, the Liberty Project will focus on 3 core areas, and I think our deans will talk a little bit more in detail, but in essence, we know that we want to increase management capacity of the small businesses. Many of them, when you're worried about payroll or rent, often they need assistance in growing management structures, drafting strategic plans, some of the technical work that we have, but managing becomes critically important for a small business. Number 2, expanding access to money through loans and investments. We know that access to capital is one of the biggest impediments. And number 3, increasing market access through contracting opportunities and reaching new consumers, particularly in downtown Seattle and in our surrounding region. We know we'll focus on certain businesses where we think there are opportunity: retail, personal services, commercial construction, food and beverage manufacturing, restaurants and power utilities contracts. The Liberty Project itself will provide an array of services, including business consulting, finance and accounting support, market assistance, technology services, contracting, bid preparation, and legal assistance. We'll be very intentional, very deliberate, and very proactive in our attempts to address the revenue disparities faced by communities that have endured disinvestment. We will align our values, our resources, our commitment, our actions by creating these tangible opportunities for business growth. I'd like to take a point of personal liberty and thank and acknowledge First Lady Joanne Harrell, and that's what I call her every single day. I don't call her Joanne, First Lady Joanne Harrell, who serves, as many of you know, in the University of Washington Foster Business School as the Fritsky Leadership Chair, a role in which she was the incubator of this program, and of course Dean Frank Hodge, who has worked tirelessly to facilitate and support the development of the Liberty Project. In closing my part, I want to talk about the Downtown Activation Plan. We have here members of the Chamber and the Seattle Chamber of Commerce. We have members of our Office of Economic Development Department that we talked about our successful Seattle Restored program, where we are looking at what I called my enemy, which are plywood enclosed stores. And how do we activate this? Herein lies some of the opportunity that we're going to take full advantage of through this Liberty Project. So as we look to the future, we know that bold action and intentionality becomes critical to our success. I'm genuinely excited about the possibilities this collaboration brings and the dreams we can help support by standing alongside and uplifting Black business owners, underrepresented organizations, of people who all they want is an opportunity. You give them the opportunity and they'll take it from there. That's what this project is all about. So next I'm going to introduce Dean Frank Hodge. A little intro on Dean Hodge. He's the Dean of the University of Washington's Foster School of Business. He was appointed the 14th Dean of the school in July of 2019. He was the only one that predicted the pandemic in 2000. No, he didn't. That's not it. Dean Hodge joined the faculty at the University of Washington Foster in 2000. He is known, and I know this for a fact, as the coach to his students. His teaching has been recognized with dozens of awards across the undergraduate, graduate, and executive levels. And if you've ever heard him speak or watch him deal with his students, you will know why he leads with passion and commitment to this kind of work. And that's why we're so happy to have his leadership in this project. I present Dean Frank Hodge.
Thank you, Mayor Harrell. I also want to recognize the significant contributions that were made to getting this project off the ground by Professor Joanne Harrell, who's the Fritsky Chair in Leadership at the Foster School of Business. Thank you, Joanne. I also want to recognize someone behind me, Associate Dean of Inclusion and Diversity at the Foster School, Michelle Purnell Hepburn. If you go into this beautiful structure, her parents were founders of the Liberty Bank. So her history with this place goes way back, and we are honored to have her on staff at the Foster School of Business. Our North Star at the Foster School of Business, our purpose is to better humanity through business. That all starts in the classroom. That's where we plant the seeds, but that's not where they grow. In order for those seeds to nurture and grow and bloom into beautiful plants, they've got to be planted in the community. And that's why we're so proud to be a part of the Liberty Project. We have made experiential learning. We have made partnering with our communities an integral part of the educational experience at the Foster School of Business. And the backbone of our efforts in this area are the Consulting and Business Development Center. And I have with me today the director of the Consulting and Business Development Center, Michael Verschow. Thank you, Michael. Michael has been the director for 27 years. The Consulting and Business Development Center over those 27 years has generated over $275 million additional dollars in revenue for small and minority-owned businesses in Washington State. They've retained over 200,000 jobs in the state. And more recently, and taught by Associate Dean Michelle Purnell Hepburn, is a class where we have MBA students help small and minority-owned businesses apply for loans. And they generated loans this last year of $1.7 million. 75% of those loans went to Black-owned businesses. Having an impact in our community is really important, something that we're proud of. I'm proud of the work of the Consulting and Business Development Center on its own, but what is really special about it is when it partners with others, it elevates and amplifies the impact it has in our community, and that's exactly what the Liberty Project does. It brings together the Tabor 100, the Albers School at Seattle University, our city, leadership at our city level to have an impact in our community. We're ready to roll up our sleeves and get to work. We couldn't be prouder to be a part of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Next, I'm going to bring up to the podium Dean Joe Phillips from the Seattle University. A little background on Dean Phillips. He was appointed Dean of the Albers School of Business and Economics July of 2001. He joined Seattle University after serving on the faculty of the College of Business Administration at Creighton University in Nebraska, where he started in 1982. And again, he leads with passion and commitment to this project. And I present to you Dean Joe Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And actually, it's true. Frank did project COVID. I distinctly remember. I distinctly remember a dean's meeting in 2019 when he told us it was coming. So there you go. Yes, thank you. Over the last 75 years, the Albers School of Business and Economics at Seattle U has championed the responsibility of business to create a better society. Our students are taught to be leaders who are committed to making a difference above and beyond the bottom line. A hallmark of our values-driven education is the emphasis we put on student engagement with local communities, to improving lives through the strategic application of their skills, knowledge, experience, and their networks. It is reflected in the ongoing work we have been doing for years with many Black-owned businesses in the Central District. Our Resource Amplification and Management Program, or RAMP UP, provides business coaching, planning, technical support, and other assistance to underserved local businesses. Qualified RAMP UP clients are assigned to Seattle U Client Account Manager and Student Consulting Team for a renewable one-year engagement. And since 2016, we've dedicated thousands of student hours providing both business consulting and working on access to funding in the form of grants and loans to grow vulnerable Black-owned businesses in Seattle. For example, we've helped facilitate Black-owned businesses such as Catfish Corner, Communion, and Earl's Barbershop as tenant improvement grantees with the Seattle Office of Economic Development. So in this new effort, we're building on previous collaboration with City, and we're looking forward to it. Which is why we're honored and delighted to be one of the 3 anchor institutions, along with UW and Tabor 100, invited to participate in the Liberty Project. This collaborative endeavor builds up our ramp-up work, providing many opportunities for Albers students and faculty and staff to participate meaningfully in minority business growth and creation in our city. So thank you for including us, and we look forward to being of service to the Liberty Project.
Thank you, Dean Phillips. And now my last speaker will be, she's never been introduced like this before, but I'm going to call her the glue. I call her the glue because this is where it all sort of comes and sticks together. That Ollie Garrett, the leader of Tabor 100, as many of you know, has been an incubator, facilitator, a counselor, sort of the glue on many of the small business, particularly Black-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses in the Seattle and the greater Seattle area for decades and decades. When I first had run for office in 2007, I went to I don't know exactly what it was. It was a large gathering of many of the Tabor 100 businesses, and I did not even realize at that point how much work Tabor was doing. And since then, I've been sort of recruited to play a role at their fundraisers, and my wife and I have been very supportive. And we think, when I talked about restoring Seattle and writing this new chapter in Seattle, it has to be sustainable. It has to be sustainable. It has to be here way after we're gone. And so by pulling these great academic institutions together with the glue, if you will, through Tabor 100 and Ollie Garrett's outstanding leadership, we know this will help us write this new chapter in Seattle. So I present to you the glue,
Thank you. I'm excited about this partnership. Tabor 100 was founded and started back in 1998 after the passage of I-200. And Tabor 100 focus became, how do we help, now that this initiative is on the books, how do we help African American businesses sustain and continue to get contracts through the I-200? We started doing this work as an all-volunteer organization. So when Bruce talked about in 2007 and seeing all the work we were doing, it was as a volunteer organization. In 2020, we moved into a facility where we were able to now take our technical assistant program to the next level. We have classroom settings, we have workshop settings, we have all of the technology to help the businesses grow with technical assistant. In 2022, Tabor 100 did 352 hours of technical assistance with African American small businesses and businesses from small communities. In 2023, so far, we've put in 582 hours for technical assistance with these businesses. We've brought on and have about 7 employees now and 22 consultants. With this collaboration, we will be able to now take businesses to the next level of technical assistance. One of the things that I said, being a small business owner myself, a lot of businesses get started without not knowing what they don't know that they don't know. So they get into this and get going and realize, wait a minute, I didn't know I need to understand labor laws. I didn't know I need to understand, have a CPA, have a bank. There's a lot of programs that we offer in one-on-one coaching, accounting, bid opportunities, and preparing the businesses to get ready to bid, but there's another level that they need to go to and go through, and this collaboration is going to help us now take our technical assistant program, add on additional staff, and collaborate with the University of Washington and Seattle U to take the business to the next level and to make sure that they are really ready to grow their business. So I'm really excited about this, and I want to thank the mayor and First Lady Joanne for pulling all of this together and recognizing that we're all doing this work in a well, I won't say a silo, because when we started talking about the businesses that we've helped, we looked at it and we realized a lot of these businesses had gone already through each one of our programs, but to make this structured, and I am just really excited, and thank you.
Thank you, Ali. So as I close, I just want to recognize a few more people, and I want to say, and I'll answer a few questions if there's some questions posed. I want to recognize members of my executive team, Tim Burgess here, and Greg Wong, of my cabinet, Markham McIntyre here, of our Office of Economic Development. I want to thank Rachel Smith from the Chamber of being here, and many of you for being here. So with that, I couldn't be more excited. I think all of the stuff we're working on in the city, this has a little piece of it, if you will, whether it's public safety, homelessness, economic empowerment, race and social justice. This project, this Liberty Project, touches upon it all. And with that, are there any questions? I'm going to count you down.
I'll ask.
You can ask a question, sir.
Did you ever bank here?
Did I ever bank here? That's a good question. Well, I was a little young to bank here. But let me say that I had, when I was an attorney, I had many small businesses that I advised that took loans out here, and I was involved in assisting them. So I knew the bank when I became a professional. I mean, everyone quite did, what we say back in the day. But I was a little too young. I was just in high school when I lived down the street.
It's pretty cool you're standing under this sign, and they have the security boxes are right welded into the steel.
Yeah, when this project had come about, they were trying to preserve as much of the legacy as possible. And I think it was it Dean Hodge that talked about Michelle Hepburn's history here. Well, you know, I talk about Seattle has gotten very large. You see the construction projects. We've gotten very large, and I say sometimes Seattle's best when it gets small again. And you know, my parents and my grandparents knew her parents and grandparents, and when we talk about we talk about the legacy that we're building upon. I just think it's pretty cool when we have these kinds of common stories here. So yeah, the safety deposit box are here, and that's why we thought to have this here. But I think most importantly, that a lot of when we were coming here, over here, I was pointing out houses of people that I knew where they lived, and some of them still live here. We have to be intentional if we're going to fight for the diversity in this city, and it comes through small businesses. That's why in my opening remarks I talk about access to capital, expanding technical assistance to businesses that need it. And again, these fine academic institutions have been doing this work, and I don't, quite frankly, and I'm not ashamed to say this, I don't think the city has a strong appreciation for the work that they've been doing. It's been absolutely amazing, and so I want to thank again First Lady Joanne Harrell for sort of putting this all together. Couldn't be more excited about this project.
Mayor, talk about downtown. I mean, you know, businesses have left, they come and go. This is an opportunity really for both sides of this. How aggressive is the city going to be about putting people in there? And because you're in the midst of your revitalization plan, action plan, I think that's what you call it.
I like the word you used in your question, which is aggressive. We will be aggressive. We literally walk downtown and we ask who controls or owns a building, because that's just, it's not on the wall. We do the research to find out who are the decision makers, and then we partner with our anchor institutions and find out who has goods, wares, or services that can fit into this area. And we're going to matchmake, and what do they need to succeed? This is a sustainable approach to getting our downtown back, getting our economic resiliency and vibrancy back, as opposed to doing one-offs. And I said when I took office that, yeah, we like flashy things, but I like things that work well, and I want things that are sustainable. This is a sustainable approach, and dare I even say an academic approach. And so we're going to be aggressive. We're literally in discussions now with small businesses, and we look forward to seeing it when you walk downtown with your own eyes. Okay, everyone believes in our One Seattle concept, so I'm going to cut us down to it. 3, 2, 1 Seattle. Thank you very much.